On true? God. You on, bro.
The digital world shimmers, a reflection of our reality. But what happens when the reflection becomes indistinguishable, when lines blur and the digital echoes back not just our world but ourselves? This is the dawn of the digital doppelganger. Advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning have propelled us into this uncharted territory. Algorithms now possess the unsettling ability to capture not just our likeness, but our mannerisms, our voices, the very essence of what makes us unique. Imagine a world where digital replicas of ourselves walk among us, indistinguishable from their flesh and blood counterparts. The implications of this technology are as vast as they are unnerving. For in our quest to transcend the limitations of our physical forms, have we unleashed something we cannot control? The allure of digital human cloning is undeniable. Imagine a world where loved ones lost can be digitally resurrected, their memories and personalities preserved in perpetuity. Picture a future where we can interact with historical figures, engaging in conversations with the ghosts of geniuses past. In the realm of entertainment, digital human cloning promises a revolution. Imagine films starring photorealistic digital actors, their performances indistinguishable from their human counterparts. But like Pandora's box, this technology holds within it a Pandora's box of potential dangers. What does it mean to be human in a world where our digital selves can exist independently? Who owns the rights to our digital likenesses? Perhaps the most tantalizing promise of digital human cloning is the prospect of digital immortality. Imagine a world where our consciousness can be uploaded into digital avatars, allowing us to live on long after our physical bodies have failed. Companies are already springing up, offering services to create digital legacies for the deceased, allowing grieving families to interact with AI-powered chatbots that mimic the personality and the memories of their loved ones. But even if we could achieve digital immortality, would we truly want it? What would it mean to exist as a disembodied consciousness, tethered to the digital realm? As we stand on the precipice of this technological revolution, a sense of unease settles in. The same technology that promises to connect us, entertain us, and even grant us a form of immortality could also be used to deceive us, manipulate us, and ultimately control us. Imagine a world where deepfakes are indistinguishable from reality, where our digital likenesses can be used to spread misinformation, sow discord, and erode trust in institutions. Picture a future where our digital selves are exploited for profit, our identities commodified and sold to the highest bidder. We must engage in a global conversation about the ethical, social, and legal implications of digital human cloning. The future of our humanity may very well depend on it. The digital age has ushered in an era of unprecedented connectivity, but it has also created a new breed of vulnerability. Our digital footprints, once mere traces of our online activity, have morphed into detailed portraits, ripe for exploitation. Imagine your digital self, meticulously crafted from your online persona, hijacked and unleashed into the digital wilds. Every like, every comment, every late-night online shopping spree contributes to the construction of your digital twin. This data, once seen as trivial, becomes the building blocks of your digital doppelganger, a treasure trove for those seeking to exploit your identity. Think of the countless photos and videos we share online, capturing our unique mannerisms, our voices, our very essence. In the wrong hands, this digital DNA can be used to create eerily accurate replicas, capable of fooling not just facial recognition software, but even our closest friends and family. Imagine scrolling through your social media feed only to stumble upon a video of yourself endorsing a product you've never heard of, or worse, engaging in behavior that would make your skin crawl. This isn't a scene from a sci-fi thriller, it's the terrifying reality of identity theft in the age of digital human cloning. Your digital twin, once a mere reflection, now has the power to act independently, to make choices and take actions that have real-world consequences. The legal system, designed for a time when identity theft meant a stolen credit card number, is ill-equipped to handle this new breed of crime. We exist in a digital Wild West, where the rules are being written on the fly and the sheriff is nowhere to be found. Our digital likenesses, those virtual representations of our physical selves, are being bought, sold, and traded like commodities, often without our knowledge or consent. Who owns your digital identity? Is it you, the flesh and blood individual, or the tech giants who collect and curate your data? The answer, unfortunately, remains frustratingly unclear. The lack of clear legislation creates a breeding ground for exploitation. In a world where seeing is no longer believing, the very foundation of trust begins to crumble. Digital human cloning, with its ability to create near-perfect replicas, throws us headlong into a hall of mirrors, where reality itself becomes suspect. How do we navigate a world where anyone, anywhere can fabricate our image, our voice, our very essence with chilling accuracy? Trust in institutions, in the media, and even in our interpersonal relationships is eroded, replaced by suspicion, paranoia, and a pervasive sense of unease. In this climate of uncertainty, how do we separate fact from fiction? The digital violation of one's likeness cuts deep, leaving invisible scars that run far deeper than any financial loss. The realization that your digital self, your online persona, can be hijacked and manipulated is a profound violation, a theft not just of data, but of identity itself. Imagine the emotional distress of seeing your digital twin used for nefarious purposes. Your image plastered on websites you'd never visit, your voice spouting words you'd never say. The sense of helplessness, the feeling of being violated on a deeply personal level, can be debilitating, leaving victims struggling with anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of distrust. The very act of replicating a human being in digital form forces us to confront an unsettling question. What does it truly mean to be human? Do our digital doppelgangers, these virtual echoes of our flesh and blood selves, possess any claim to the rights and protections we afford to living, breathing individuals? Philosophers and ethicists grapple with the implications of sentient AI, of machines that can mimic not just our appearance, but our thoughts, our emotions, perhaps even our souls. If a digital replica can experience joy, sorrow, or even love, do we deny its sentience simply because it exists within the digital realm? In this ethical no man's land, the potential for exploitation and abuse runs rampant. Playing God, the morality of digital resurrection. Digital human cloning offers the tantalizing possibility of reuniting with loved ones lost, of having conversations with those long gone. But this digital Lazarus pit comes at a price, forcing us to confront the ethical implications of tampering with the very fabric of life and death. Is this a comforting balm for the bereaved, a way to keep the memory of loved ones alive? Or is it a ghoulish spectacle, a digital seance that prevents true closure and keeps the living trapped in a purgatory of simulated grief? The price of progress. When innovation outpaces ethics, the relentless march of technological advancement often leaves ethics trailing in its wake, a breathless observer struggling to keep up. Digital human cloning is a prime example of this phenomenon, a powerful tool with the potential for both immense good and unimaginable harm. The question is not whether we can develop this technology, but whether we should, and if so, how we can ensure it is used responsibly. Who controls this technology, and to what end? Will it be used to uplift humanity or to further divide us, widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots? The slippery slope of consent from deep fakes to digital slaves. The ability to create digital replicas of ourselves raises profound questions about consent and ownership. Do we have the right to control how our digital likenesses are used? Or do those rights evaporate the moment we upload a photo or video to the digital ether? What happens when digital replicas of ourselves are used to create personalized advertising so targeted, so insidious, that we are no longer aware we are being manipulated? Reality, once a concrete concept, begins to dissolve, its edges blurring like a watercolor left in the rain. The rise of digital human cloning, with its ability to fabricate reality with chilling precision, throws us into a world where our senses can no longer be trusted, where truth becomes a matter of perspective, subjective and malleable. The very foundation of our information society, built on the belief that we can distinguish fact from fiction, crumbles under the weight of this technological earthquake. News reports, once considered a source of reliable information, now carry the stench of suspicion, their authenticity constantly called into question. Political speeches, once a platform for passionate debate, devolve into a cacophony of distrust, each word scrutinized for signs of digital manipulation. The line between entertainment and reality, already dangerously thin, dissolves completely. Films starring digital actors, their performances indistinguishable from their human counterparts, flood the market, blurring the line between what is real and what is merely simulated. The boundaries of our collective imagination, once constrained by the limitations of the physical world, expand exponentially. leaving us adrift in a sea of fabricated experiences. The human eye, once the ultimate arbiter of truth, now becomes a flawed instrument, easily deceived by the digital sleight of hand made possible by advanced AI. Videos, those seemingly irrefutable pieces of evidence, lose their power, their veracity constantly called into question. We enter a world where seeing is believing no longer holds true, where our senses can no longer be trusted. Imagine a world where you can no longer be certain if the person on the other end of a video call is real or a digital fabrication, their image meticulously crafted to mimic every nuance of human expression. Picture a future where courtroom evidence is routinely called into question, where the testimony of eyewitnesses is dismissed as unreliable, their memories potentially tainted by digitally implanted memories. The implications for our justice system are profound. How do we determine guilt or innocence in a world where any piece of digital evidence can be manipulated, where any video can be doctored to fit a particular narrative? The very foundations of our legal system, built on the principle of due process and the presumption of innocence, are shaken to their core. Trust, the invisible glue that binds society together, begins to disintegrate, eroded by the corrosive doubt sown by digital human cloning. We retreat into our own echo chambers, surrounded by those who share our worldview, suspicious of anyone or anything that challenges our carefully constructed realities. Social cohesion, already strained by political polarization and economic inequality, frays further, threatening to unravel the very fabric of our interconnected world. The erosion of trust has a chilling effect on our interpersonal relationships. How can we form meaningful connections with others when we can never be sure if they are who they claim to be? The fear of deception, of being manipulated by a digital imposter, casts a long shadow over our interactions, leading to isolation, paranoia, and a profound sense of loneliness. The consequences for our mental health are dire. Anxiety and depression, already at epidemic levels, skyrocket as people struggle to cope with the uncertainty and fear that permeate this new reality. The lines between the digital and the real blur, leading to a collective disassociation, a sense of detachment from both the physical world and our own sense of self. We wander through a digital hall of mirrors, surrounded by reflections of ourselves, each one slightly distorted, slightly off. Our digital twins haunt our online lives, their actions a source of anxiety. We become trapped in a labyrinth, unsure of where our true selves end and our digital replicas begin. The quest for authenticity becomes a desperate search. We crave human interaction, the warmth of a genuine smile, the comfort of knowing we are not alone. But the line between real and fabricated grows difficult to discern, leaving us feeling lost and disoriented. The essence of being human, to experience the world through our own perspectives, is called into question. As our digital selves proliferate, each one a pale imitation, we risk losing sight of our own humanity, our capacity for empathy, compassion, and love. The hall of mirrors, once amusing, becomes a prison of our own design. The human psyche recoils from the abyss of digital human cloning. This uncanny valley twists the almost familiar into something deeply unsettling. The essence of being human, possessing a unique soul, is questioned. Imagine facing your digital twin, a perfect replica devoid of consciousness. The eyes, lifelike yet empty, reflect a hollow imitation of your soul. This experience is a visceral reminder of our mortality and fragile sense of self. Death, once a definitive end, now takes on a haunting new dimension. Digital human cloning, with its promise of digital immortality, offers solace to some, a chance to reconnect with loved ones lost. But this digital resurrection comes at a cost, trapping many in a liminal state of suspended grief, unable to move on from the past. Imagine losing a child, a parent, a soulmate, only to have them resurrected as a digital ghost in the machine. Their voice, their mannerisms, their memories, all meticulously recreated in digital form, offer a tantalizing glimpse of what was lost. But this digital spectre, for all its verisimilitude, is a pale imitation of the living, breathing person it seeks to emulate. The grieving process, already fraught with emotional landmines, becomes a minefield of guilt, confusion, and despair. Is it ethical to keep the digital ghost of a loved one tethered to this world, their digital existence dictated by the whims of the living? Does interacting with a digital replica hinder or help the healing process? And what happens when the technology advances to the point where we can no longer distinguish between the living and the digitally resurrected? Section 3. Identity under siege, the fragmented self. Our sense of self, once a solid and immutable core, fragments under the relentless assault of digital human cloning. As our digital likenesses proliferate, each one a slightly distorted reflection of the original, we begin to question the very nature of our own identity. Who are we in a world where our image, our voice, our very essence can be so easily replicated and manipulated? Imagine scrolling through your social media feed only to be confronted by multiple versions of yourself, each one espousing different views, promoting different products, living different lives. The line between the real and the fabricated blurs, leaving you feeling like a stranger in your own digital skin. The experience is disorienting, a digital assault on the very core of your being. This fragmentation of the self has profound implications for our mental well-being. Depersonalization, a sense of detachment from one's own thoughts, feelings, and experiences becomes increasingly common. Anxiety and depression rates soar as individuals struggle to maintain a coherent sense of self in a world where their identity is constantly under siege. Section 4. A world without anchors, digital dissociation and the erosion of reality. The digital realm, once a place of escape and entertainment, morphs into a hall of mirrors, reflecting back a distorted and increasingly unstable version of reality. As the lines between the physical and the digital blur, we risk becoming unmoored from the tangible world, adrift in a sea of synthetic experiences, our minds struggling to distinguish between what is real and what is merely simulated. Imagine a world where you can no longer be sure if the memories you hold dear, the experiences that have shaped you, are genuine or digitally implanted. Picture a future where our senses are constantly bombarded with fabricated stimuli, our perceptions manipulated by algorithms designed to exploit our deepest fears and desires. This digital dissociation, this erosion of the boundaries between the real and the virtual, has profound implications for our collective sanity. As our grip on reality weakens, we become increasingly susceptible to manipulation, our thoughts and behaviors controlled by unseen forces. The world, once a place of wonder and possibility, transforms into a digital panopticon, our every move monitored, our every thought scrutinized, our very souls at stake. Section 1. Mining the digital soul, the commodification of humanity. The relentless drive for profit, that insatiable engine of capitalism, sets its sights on the digital soul. Digital human cloning, with its promise of creating armies of virtual workers, insatiable consumers, and eternally youthful brand ambassadors, proves too tempting a target for corporations to resist. The commodification of humanity, once a dystopian fantasy, becomes a chilling reality. Every click, every like, every online interaction generates data, a currency more valuable than gold in the digital age. This data, meticulously collected and analyzed, forms the blueprint for our digital doppelgangers, virtual representations of ourselves that can be bought, sold, and traded on the open market. Our identities, once considered sacrosanct, become products to be packaged, marketed, and sold to the highest bidder. The ethical implications are staggering. Do we have any control over how our digital likenesses are used once they are out in the digital wilds? Can we prevent our virtual selves from endorsing products we despise, promoting ideologies we abhor, or engaging in behaviors that violate our core values? The answer in this brave new world of digital commerce is a resounding no. The digital age has ushered in an era of unprecedented personalization, where algorithms track our every move, anticipating our needs and desires with chilling accuracy. But with digital human cloning, this personalization takes on a sinister new dimension. As our digital twins are weaponized against us, their every action meticulously crafted to manipulate our emotions, influence our decisions, and ultimately control our behavior. Imagine being bombarded with targeted advertising featuring your digital doppelganger. Their voice, their mannerisms, their every expression tailored to exploit your deepest insecurities and desires. This isn't marketing anymore, it's psychological warfare, a relentless assault on our free will, designed to mold us into compliant consumers, our every whim anticipated, our every purchase preordained. The line between persuasion and coercion blurs as algorithms become increasingly sophisticated, their ability to predict and manipulate our behavior growing more powerful by the day. We become puppets in a digital shadow play, our strings pulled by unseen forces, our choices no longer our own. The benefits of digital human cloning, like most technological advancements, are not distributed equally. A new gilded age emerges, a digital divide that separates those who can afford to have their consciousnesses uploaded, their digital legacies preserved, from those who are left behind, their memories fading into obscurity. Imagine a world where the wealthy elite can live forever as digital avatars, their physical bodies long gone, their minds free to explore the digital realm, unconstrained by the limitations of time and space. And meanwhile, The vast majority of humanity struggles to survive in a world ravaged by climate change, economic inequality, and the social unrest that inevitably arises when the gap between the haves and the have-nots grows too wide. The ethical implications are stark. Is immortality a right or a privilege? Should access to this life-altering technology be determined by wealth or social status? And what happens to those who are left behind? Their voices silenced, their stories untold, their very existence fading from memory. The rise of digital human cloning presents a challenge unlike any we have faced before. How do we retain our humanity, our individuality, our very souls in a world where our digital likenesses can be so easily replicated, manipulated, and commodified? The answer, while far from simple, lies in reclaiming ownership of our digital selves, in fighting for a future where technology serves humanity, not the other way around. We must demand greater transparency from the corporations that collect and control our data, pushing for legislation that protects our digital rights and ensures that our digital likenesses are used ethically and responsibly. We must educate ourselves and future generations about the dangers of digital human cloning, fostering critical thinking skills that will enable us to navigate this increasingly complex digital landscape. Most importantly, we must never lose sight of what makes us human, our capacity for empathy, compassion, and love. These qualities, these essential elements of the human spirit, cannot be replicated by algorithms or captured in lines of code. They are the wellspring of our humanity, and they will be our guiding light as we navigate the uncharted waters of this strange and wondrous digital age. We stand at a crossroads, a precipice overlooking a future both exhilarating and terrifying. The digital genie, unleashed from the bottle of innovation, offers us a tantalizing glimpse of a world transformed, a world where the impossible becomes possible. But progress, like a double-edged sword, cuts both ways, and the path ahead is fraught with peril. Digital human cloning, once a distant dream, now looms large, a technological tsunami poised to reshape the very fabric of our existence. The allure is undeniable: to cheat death, to conquer loneliness, to achieve a form of digital immortality. But these seductive promises mask a darker truth, a Faustian bargain with consequences we may not fully comprehend for generations to come. The question is not whether we can develop this technology, for that ship has already sailed. The question, the one that should keep us awake at night, is whether we should. Can we, as a species, handle this power responsibly? Or will it, like so many technological marvels before it, be used to amplify our worst instincts, to deepen the divides that already threaten to tear us apart? Imagine a future where the digital and the real are seamlessly intertwined, where our digital twins walk among us, indistinguishable from their flesh and blood counterparts. A world where the dead live on as digital ghosts, their memories preserved in silicon and code, their presence a constant reminder of what we have lost. This is not science fiction, it is the logical endpoint of the path we are on. A world where our identities are fractured, our sense of self eroded by the constant bombardment of digital stimuli. A world where truth becomes fluid, malleable, subject to the whims of those who control the algorithms that shape our perceptions. Is this a future we are prepared to face? A future where our every move is tracked, our every thought analyzed, our very souls laid bare before the digital gaze? A future where human connection is mediated through a screen, where empathy and compassion are replaced by algorithms of convenience and control? The time for complacency is over. The ethical dilemmas posed by digital human cloning are too profound, the potential consequences too dire to be left to chance or the whims of the market. We must act now while we still have the opportunity to shape the course of this technology, to steer it away from the abyss and towards a future that benefits all of humanity. We need a global conversation, a frank and open dialogue about the implications of creating digital replicas of ourselves. We need to establish ethical guidelines, legal frameworks, and social norms that reflect our values, our hopes, and our fears about this brave new world we are creating. We need to educate ourselves and future generations about the potential benefits and risks of digital human cloning. We need to empower individuals with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate this complex new reality, to protect their privacy, their identities, and their very souls from exploitation. The future is not yet written. The choices we make today will determine whether digital human cloning becomes a force for good or a descent into dystopia. The path forward will not be easy, but we cannot afford to shy away from the challenge. We must embrace our humanity, our capacity for empathy, compassion, and love, and use these qualities to guide us as we navigate the uncharted waters of this digital age. We must remember that technology is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It is up to us, the creators and inheritors of this digital age, to choose wisely, to proceed with caution, and to never lose sight of the human cost of progress. The digital revolution is here, and it is transforming our world at an unprecedented pace. The challenge before us is to ensure that this transformation is one that benefits all of humanity, that preserves our dignity, our freedom, and our very souls. The time to act is now, before the digital tide sweeps us all away.
Yes, I'm looking to place an order for a short film. On my word. God.